What's going on today, guys? I've got a bit of a horror story to tell you guys today. As you know, if you've been watching, I'm running the 513 thick cut ring and pinions in my 2500 HD. So as you've seen, I made a few videos, a little short four-wheel drive video, scooting around in the woods, playing around. Didn't seem to be any issues at first, but we soon encountered a snowstorm, as you can see. And what happened was, I left the shop, which is a few kilometers from here, and about halfway home, about 3 kilometers into my trip, doing about 60-70 kilometers an hour, I noticed some real bad vibration coming out of the front end. So I no sooner, felt I should probably pull over and check things out, and felt a bit of a clunk and bang, and next thing you know, I had some really bad noises happening. So I immediately took the truck out of four-wheel drive, lagged it home in two-wheel drive. I contacted Rick Rude, and he told me to bring the truck back up immediately. And it was by no means his fault. This is an issue with IFS front ends. When you put thick cut gears into them, this is not anybody's fault at all. So I wanted to make a video and make you guys aware of this, because it's pretty frustrating when you spend a couple $100 on gears and then you rebuild both your rear ends, and your first drive everything flies to hell. So as I pulled in my yard here, I got out. Now obviously this is my spare front rear end, but immediately when I get out of the truck, what was going on, I could smell rubber burning. And when I got underneath the truck and looked around my front drive shaft area, it was smoking like a pig, and it was hotter than hell. And no way were you putting your hand anywhere near that, because you would have burnt yourself. And like literally I only drove a few kilometers. So what happened was, and this needs to be explained so you guys can understand it. What happened was, when you put a thick cut gear in these IFS front rear ends, you have these oil journals to feed your main pinion bearing. And as you can see, this one here, we hacked at it a bit, but we didn't use this front rear end, because Rick knows I use my truck and I use it hard. So this front piece had taken a lot of heat from the bearing failure, so he used my other spare rear end, and this here is now just another piece if I actually need it. It is still good, but again, the front end of it took a lot of heat, so he didn't want to use it. So I had no issue with that. But anyway, with the thick cut gear, the pinion bearing relies on the ring gear spinning in the fluid, throwing the fluid up at it through this cavity and this cavity here. And what happens is, with the thick cut gear, is it throws that fluid splash, if you will, out of a line that it's not even hitting this cavity where it's supposed to feed your main pinion bearing. So after Rick had taken it apart, he called me and he said, we got lucky. I never actually damaged my ring and pinion. The bearing was a little bit stuck to the pinion, but he was able to press it off, and there was no catastrophic failure. I didn't have to order any new parts. He supplied me with a new bearing and seal for the front, and put my other rear end back together. And what we did to solve this issue, and so far so good, I've got probably 100 kilometers of four-wheel drive on pavement, in the snow and stuff, at higher speeds. And what we did was, we chipped away this journal a little bit to allow more fluid in. And another thing we did was, once we installed it in the truck, we parked the truck on a block on the driver's tire to get the truck on a bit of an angle in the front end. And we ended up overfilling the diff about 1 liter of fluid, just to make 100% sure that this pinion bearing is always going to be fed with fluid, because if you go by the fill levels with the aftermarket gears, a lot of people won't have this issue because, you know, let's face it, if you're running like 513 gears, a lot of you probably aren't out driving on pavement. You're probably crawling around in the woods with big tires or over rocks, whatever. So you never see high speeds to actually damage or get your pinion bearing hot. But I mean, this is my you know, it's my work truck, whatever. I use it for just about everything. So, you know, it sees four-wheel drive. If I got to go out in a storm and I get called to work, you know, I drive 80-90 kilometers an hour through a foot of snow to get to work. So this stuff is working and turning, and I need it to work and turn and function properly. So this is what we did to cure the issue. And again, I just wanted to, you know, make this as an informative video, that if you're going to run an IFS front rear end, front diff, and you're going to run thick cut gears, you should definitely overfill at least 1 liter. And if a little bit of grinding doesn't bother you, I would recommend hollowing this cavity out that feeds your pilot bearing, or sorry, not your pilot bearing, your pinion bearing, the best that you can. Because the more flow it will, obviously, you know, you want your main bearing being fed, to say the least. So I ain't gonna drag this out any longer. That's the issue I had. Hopefully I save a few of you guys from going through this yourselves. But other than that, I've got nothing but good things to say about these 513s. You know, I've got probably almost on my second oil change already on the back diff, and no issues at all with the back. You know, the full floater rear end, you don't run into this fluid feed issue on any of your bearings. This is a whole different setup than the back, so there's no issues whatsoever with the back when you do this. But this is an issue that we had with the front. So again, just sharing the knowledge, guys. Thanks for watching. If you haven't subscribed already, please do it. I appreciate it. And have a nice day.